You say you want to be a leader, yet you're not actually doing what a true leader would do. What's up, guys? I'm Philip Sessions, the owner of Refined VA, where we help you get virtual assistants to buy back your time. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about the common thing that I see when business owners start to get virtual assistants, when they start to delegate tasks, and when they have to start leading people. So if you're in one of these situations, most likely you are, or you might be able to relate to this because maybe you're on the other side of this, but either way, today's episode will help you become a better leader. So why do I want to talk about this subject today? First of all, I've seen this time and time again where people are put in a position of leadership, whether they're the business owner, whether they're a manager in a corporation, and they simply don't know how to actually get the team to take action. They don't know how to get the team to think for themselves and be proactive. Instead, what happens, especially small business owners that get a virtual assistant, they basically have to come up with a task list every single day, every single week to get the virtual assistant to stay busy and productive. And then what happens as well, and this isn't just virtual assistants, this is really what I found to be people in general that are not proactive type people. Most people are not proactive. Most people are reactive. And so whether it's a virtual assistant or an in-person, what I have found is that most people will do the least amount possible. They will do just enough not to get fired. And a culture, especially that I found with virtual assistants, just because of being around virtual assistants and the nature of my business, is that they will do the job that they are told. So it's about training up and coaching your people to do more than that. But they don't know that they should be doing more than that. And you just have the assumption as the business owner that, well, everybody just knows to go do extra work. They know that other things need to get done. And that's not the case. Yes, you're going to have those people that are literally just going to do nothing until you tell them to. They're going to burn the hours on the clock. They're going to waste all sorts of time and do just enough to stay productive. But a lot of people actually want to do a good job. They just don't know what to do. They haven't been empowered to do that. So how can we convert what's a majority of people who are reactive, they're not proactive, and they just don't know how to start doing tasks and get them to actually be proactive and be empowered to go take action on this set of things that they're supposed to do. Let's take social media management for instance. So you could get a virtual assistant, you could get somebody on your team to start doing social media management. So what does that encompass? It encompasses graphic design, encompasses video editing, content creation, so creating the captions, and posting. Let's go with just those four things. So okay, I'm gonna go to ChatGPT, come up with some kind of caption, then I'm going to find a picture, or I'm going to find a video, and maybe I'll do some edits on that, and then I post it. And I continue to do that over and over and over again. But you as the business owner said, hey, here's our 4 pillars when it comes to doing social media. And so now they're just simply doing that, regurgitating over and over and over again. So how do you get them to actually be proactive, to actually think beyond what it is that you told them? It's through coaching. So you have to give them, empower them to do things. Like, hey, have you thought about taking a look at this? What do you think about this? Start asking them questions. Start getting them to give you the feedback rather than saying, hey, do this thing. Hey, change that thing. And that's still going to be a part of you as a leader, as you have to guide and give that direction. But at the same time, you shouldn't have to approve every single thing. You shouldn't have to tell them every little thing that they need to do. You can start asking them questions. Hey, I saw you made this post. How do you think that relates with where we're trying to go as a business? How do you think that relates to our audience? Who do you think that this message is speaking with? And this is something that I've started doing with my social media manager as well, as we started talking through the content. How can we make the content more relatable? And you'll start seeing, and when this comes out, we'll have the full transition. But if you look back a couple of months ago, you will see that I talked a lot more about my family. It was a lot about family values, and I still will have that in there. I still will talk about that. But as we were talking through this and kind of more strategizing, realizing, and I was getting his feedback and buy-in on it, was, hey, we need to talk to the pain points of our clients. What do you think some of those pain points are that we could talk about? And we talked through that. But I had him think of those ideas, and then I could approve of those. We're like, hey, that's right, but just let's tweak this a little bit, or okay, you're not exactly there. But it just was this continual asking questions, giving some of my thoughts, and then seeing what he thought about that and moving from there. And so really, in order to get your team to start being more proactive, you have to show that you trust them. At the end of the day, it all comes down to trust, and trust is built up over time. It's not by just telling them good job. It's not by giving them another task. It's by setting up like a field goal post. So when you think about your field goal post, you can go anywhere between the posts there. As long as you kick the football between those posts, it's a field goal. If you go outside of it, it's not a field goal. But anything in between, if it goes straight down the middle, awesome. If it goes a little off to the right, awesome. It's still a field goal. And this is the same thing when it comes to your virtual assistant and their task. It's not about putting them in such a little box that they're stuck. They can't look outside. They can't turn left or right. They're just stuck there. It's about putting a box big enough that it allows them to be able to move around a little bit so they can be at liberty to take on some extra things, to be able to try something a little bit new. So you need to make sure that you're building up that trust, and that's how you build up that trust, by starting to allow them to go outside the box, so to speak. Stay in the field goal post, but allow them to go outside of this little box, which is just post, just do this little thing. And over time, and you give them that feedback, let them know how they did, ask them questions as well. You want to give feedback, but then you also want to ask, what do you think? How do you think this related with our social media strategy? How do you think this related with our business, our clients? And that's really how you go about empowering your team and get into that actual leadership role. Because if you are still guiding people, you're not actually leading, you're managing. And you don't want to be in that manager role. You want to be in that leadership role, because then you can have that 30,000 foot view. You can look at the content and see, is this going in the right direction, and start to pinpoint those things and start to have the conversations with your team. But if you're constantly managing them, you're going to be right there in the weeds with them, minus the one that's literally clicking post and typing out the content. But you're going to be so dug into it, you won't be able to see the strategy behind the content. You won't be able to see the strategy behind the business, and you're going to be in the weeds. So if you want to become a leader, you need to get yourself out of that role of being the doer or the manager of the task, telling them, here's the next task you need to do, and start to allow them to understand what their role is, what the importance of it is for the business, and how their role can help the business move forward. When you start to do those things, give that positive feedback, ask them for their thoughts, ask them what they think that they can do, you will start to see the business grow. And actually, another example for you I just thought of is, I did this with my sales team. There's plenty of ways. We could do cold DMs, we could do cold calls, we could do email marketing. But I said, what do we need to start doing right now so we can start booking more appointments? We need to double the appointments booked. So what do we need to do? And they immediately said, cold calls. They didn't want to go the DM route. They didn't want to go the email marketing route. They said, if we start dialing, we're going to be able to get more cold calls. So that was the direction we took. I gave them kind of that stamp of approval, but they already knew the answer. So it's just constantly asking the questions of, hey, what do you think we need to do to get this result? Rather than saying, hey, do this so we can get that result, or just, hey, do this. As the leader, you need to ask good questions and really coach your team, so then they can start to feel like, hey, I know the right decision to make. And as they get that confidence to be able to make the right decision, of course, verifying with you at first, they're going to start doing that, and they should still check in with you on things. But as they gain that confidence to make the right decision for the company, you'll start to see that they'll feel empowered, and they'll start actually doing things on their own rather than constantly coming to you to ask for that next step. And as the busy business owner that you are, you don't want to have to be bogged down with getting people more tasks. You've already got a task list yourself. You're trying to delegate this stuff. And so that's how you properly lead somebody and delegate tasks at the same time. And if you want some help with delegation, with getting virtual assistants, we'd love to help you out. Go over to our website at refinedva.com, where you can then book a call with us, and make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel and podcast channel. We'd love for you to give us feedback. Let us know what you want to learn more of. Leave a comment in the comment section below, and have a healthy and blessed day.